call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please take your seats. An executive session was held prior to tonight's meeting to discuss personnel. Roll call, please.
Eister. Regner.
Yes.
Roches.
Here.
Barnhart.
Here.
Martina.
Here.
There needs to be one item added to the agenda. Is the 2023 CDBG project selection for the total allocation for Susquehanna Avenue stormwater and sewer separation and administration fees for a total of $311,258. Do I have a second to add that to the agenda?
Eister.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Roches.
Yes.
Regner.
Yes.
That's all right. Is there any public comment on agenda items at this time? Any public comment on agenda items? All right, moving on. Shade tree update / presentation.
Good evening, everyone. As you have seen before you, we have a mock of what the t-shirt is going to look like. We are in the process of getting pricing. We are not sure what background we're going to be using as far as the color of the t-shirt, but we did want to let you know that it is in progress. You want to pass that around so that everyone can see. And this is the consequences when we cut down trees, folks. Consequences. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to have a presentation by Connie.
Hi, my name is Connie Panowski. I've lived in Sunbury for over 40 years. I'm not from here. I retired from the DCNR, which is nothing but trees. The state parks and the state forest, so I'm a little enthusiastic about trees. This is my grandson, Maxwell Warner. He's the guy tonight.
And your favorite grandson.
We're going to show you a few reasons to plant trees. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, trees as infrastructure. Tree canopies allow for rainfall to be slowed, preventing overflows, storm drains. We had a flood zone node, preventing tree flooding and erosion. They absorb and filter pollutants contained in the water. Trees store water for growth and continued protection as well as cooling the surrounding ground and air. With the heat that we've had, this is really important. Tree canopies also protect the sidewalks and street from damage of intense heat, lowering the temperature as much as 10 degrees, extending our investment in that infrastructure. Trees remove and store tonnage of carbon along with many harmful chemicals from the air that degrade most outdoor surfaces. Clean air is as important as clean water. Trees are not subject to obsolescence. They can live for hundreds of years. Clean air. Trees produce oxygen, which we all need, and remove carbon dioxide and lots of other stuff from the air. Anyone with any kind of respiratory illness, asthma, emphysema, or COPD knows the importance of clean air. Trees also remove odors, which I didn't know, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and many other noxious gases. Save money. Trees that protect your home from the heat of the summer sun and the winter winds, reducing your cooling and heating expenses. Increase the value of your home. Though only 41% of Sunbury's homes are owner occupied. This probably only applies to them. Landlords, trees can add as much as 15% to the value of your home and property per year. Trees add to the beauty of your home. They add privacy, reduce noise, and provide a home for birds and other critters. No other investment for such a low cost can have the same amount of return. And it's so much easier than a kitchen or a bathroom remodel. Trees never go out of style. Well-being. Trees are beautiful and result in quiet calmness, and positivity when we are among them. They clean and cool our air, increasing better overall health. Studies have shown that green cities have a reduction in crime. Trees can also reduce noise pollution from 6 to 10 decibels. The benefits of the weekend campsite or vacation camping, which everybody's closing up their stuff this weekend or next, we can extend that by planting trees within our city. And it supports wildlife, and that's important. Our squirrels, our birds, we need it all. And the resources that you can use to, the Shade Tree Commission members with resources on planting. The National Arbor Day Foundation has a great link. It's called a Tree Wizard. You can put in your location, and it will give you a list of trees for your season, your zone, and whether it's a street planting, ornamental, tons of trees to choose from. And DCNR has an urban forestry department, and our local tree farms are really great sources of information, very knowledgeable. And the only one I know in particular is Lloyd's. They're awesome. So that's it. I really think we need, as a science teacher, you know the importance, and all of the points I've made about the infrastructure, we have to consider them as part of the infrastructure. They need to be for so many reasons, not just because they're pretty. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Julie, do you have anything more to add, or?
Just that when we do receive the pricing for the t-shirts and so forth, we would like permission to put a sign-up sheet, perhaps like in mayor's office.
Yeah, only an issue.
And in code office, and see what the interest would be. And also, we're going to post it online on various areas. So we also already know that there's a lot of interest. People are really interested in getting trees back on their streets that are no longer there. I've heard a lot from Chestnut Street. I've heard a lot from 4th Street. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot from Susquehanna Avenue. So it continues, and we're going to be very strong about promoting this type of thing. The other thing is that it does not necessarily have to be trees. There are other items that do grow and provide shade, so we want that awareness. The other thing is there a software that we can get our page up? We have a Facebook page, but we don't have our actual web page yet up and going.
We could probably, since we're redoing our city website page, we could probably somehow incorporate that into it as well.
Okay.
If that's what you're referring to. What you mean, like a
Yes.
website, like
Yes.
link?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
We-
all the,
Information that you have, yeah, we could get a hold of them, Jeff, and he said we could say this is something else we'd like to incorporate into the page to help try to spread that information and things like that.
okay, great.
All right,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Unfinished business, there is no unfinished business, but there is new business, so moving on to that. I'm just gonna move right into it. I know there's been discussion, so I'll just make it an official vote now. Probably won't go through, but it is what it is. The waiving of the stadium fees for the taxpayers in the school district, so I make a motion to waive those fees. Do I have a second?
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Go right ahead, sir.
As an employee of the Shikellamy School District, I think it's a conflict of interest for you to make that motion or to even act upon it should one be made.
Well, okay, Councilman Barnhart, that is fine. I will abstain myself from the vote itself, but I'm gonna make the motion. Solicitor, may I make the motion but abstain myself from the vote?
As far as I know.
Okay,
I honestly don't know the law on that issue, but I would say yes.
okay. So the motion's there. If there's a second, great. If not, Slade, I tried.
Well, that's fine, the check's coming, so we're gonna pay the fees and we'll be over and done with it.
No, that's fine. Like I said, I just want to make an official vote, try to help the taxpayers, so.
The taxpayers, excuse me, another point of order, the taxpayers for the Shikellamy School District is for Sunbury, Northumberland, Point Township, Upper and Lower Augusta. The permit fees go for the City of Sunbury for the voters and the residents and the taxpayers that elected us to look out for their best interest. So having the permits paid is looking out for their best interest.
That's fine, but remember one thing, it's a trickle-down effect, but that's okay, no big deal. So there is no second motion. All right, moving on. Fresh Roast, Rack P, Mr. Backer.
So for Fresh Roast Coffee to submit their business plan and application for their portion of the RACP application, we need a resolution from us giving the authority to apply that. So I'm just asking for council approval to do that. There is a resolution that I'll give them and then submit that to the state.
Joel, you don't see an issue, obviously.
No, as long as is the resolution like a,
It's a requirement.
I know, but what I'm saying is it a form or something?
It's a resolution from us that just says we give them permission to do the application and submit their business plan, and it names the actual name of the RACP that they put into it. The state, it talks about the amount of money and a description of the project itself, which Fresh Roasted Coffee put together, and that's it.
I don't have any problem with the idea. I'd like to look at the resolution before it comes out.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll make the motion contingent that our solicitor reviews it before submission. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Martina,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Ister,
Yes.
Reichner,
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes. Councilman Ister.
Yes, Jeff has put a calendar together for events, and also if you're out of the office, I think our supervisors should take and notify us if they're gonna be on vacation for the week or they're off for the day, so everybody knows it instead of coming into the office, then find out they're not in the office.
So you want them to all do a group, like the joint calendar like Jeff and Derek are doing
Yes,
now? Okay.
exactly.
And, I mean, do you agree that it should like be detailed, saying like, you know, vacation or sick day, or if you have a meeting with so-and-so or that, like that, so people know, like, or it's only a meeting, you'll be back in the afternoon compared to,
I just wanna know if they're in the office or not.
yeah. But I think it should be, like I said, if you're gonna have a meeting, you're only out in the morning, that way, you know, we'll say from 9 to 11, for example, meeting with X, Y, and Z.
You want the supervisor to mention what he's doing, is that a meeting, if he's off on vacation or if he's off sick.
Yeah, that way, you know, we have an idea,
That's
but,
fine.
yeah,
Any
so,
other questions?
no question.
I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
So,
Brochus,
yes,
Reichner,
Yes.
Ister,
Yes.
Barnhart,
he just had to step out.
Martina.
Yes.
All right, I'll skip over Barnhart till he returns. Just go to Councilman Reichner for at the bottom there, approval of vouchers and invoices.
All right, I'm looking approval for $114,896, $114,896.62 in expenditures from the general fund. Liquid fuels, $890.21. Payroll, $78,726.08. Private grants, $20,397.75. I make a motion we pay those bills.
Second.
Ister,
Yes.
Barnhart, Martina,
Yes.
Brochus,
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
I'll just work my way up here to hopefully Councilman Barnhart returns. Adding to the nuisance list, 115 North 12th Street to the public nuisance list. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ister.
Yes.
Barnhart. Sorry. Martina.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
The land waiver development plan for 1131 Reagan. John was, Mike, okay, sorry. I knew you were there somewhere, I couldn't find you.
Yeah, so they're looking for three waiver requests for a consolidation of 2 lots there on Reagan Street for Habitat for Humanity. These are 3 routine waivers. One is to submit a final without a preliminary plan. It's a very basic plan, that's not an issue. The second is to not have a pre-application meeting. I've actually already met with the designer. Everything's simple, like I said. And the third one, this is just because the ordinance is a little archaic, is to allow the plan to be printed in black ink on bond paper as opposed to Mylar. And those are all reasonable requests. So we would recommend, our office would recommend you grant those 3 waivers.
All right, any questions, anyone on that?
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Reichner.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes. Councilman Barnhart, your other 2 with the pay raises.
I apologize for stuff, my sugar was dropping because of the mayor.
That's the only bad thing. I'm doing okay then.
I checked with our budget, and it is within the budget. I'd like to give a pay raise to code enforcement officer Samantha Mummy at 50 cents an hour. Like I said, it is in the budget. I'd like to make that a motion to give her 50 cents an hour.
Quick question, sorry.
Yes, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I thought we were all in agreement we weren't gonna give mid-year raises. We were gonna do it at the beginning of the year when all the increases come out at one time. Are we scratching that?
Well, this raise is gonna be to bring everybody in the department up to where they should be, and then that's gonna be nothing else. No more actions are gonna be taken until.
For this year, but until next year, then we'll get another raise again, correct?
But if the, what, 2% that we give? Or-
Well, whatever it may be
Yeah,
determined.
whatever
So
it
no
may
one sees any conflict taking place between any other departments giving mid-year raises when no one else got any?
Yes, there is, but by the same token, we're in a no-win situation here. So for the 50 cents at the end of the year, I think we can get through it.
Okay.
And
All right, so you made the motion. You made the second?
Martina.
Yes.
Brochus.
No.
Reichner.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Barnhart.
yes. The next one, I would like to table that one until the next meeting, until I talk. There's some issues and some situation has arisen, so I'd like to just table that next one until the next council.
I'll second the table. You vote, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Martina.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Ister. Barnhart.
Yes.
And just so the no vote for Samantha, the raise has nothing to do with her work ethic. It's just saying, I thought we weren't doing the mid-year raises, but it is what it is.
I get it.
And then the last one, the 2023 CDBG project selection, as for a total allocation of $311,258 for Susquehanna Avenue stormwater and sewer separation for a total of $261,258 and administration fees of $50,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ister.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
All right, moving on to discussion items. I know last week was brought up about economic development fund usage. I know we used it for the kickoff event. I know we voted to do that last year. I didn't know what everyone's thoughts and ideas were for using those funds for the future as for events similar to that. I just want to get feedback to know if we should start planning now or just scratch that idea for next year.
Can I give you my opinion?
Yeah, that's what I said, that's what we're here to discuss it, and if it's a no-go, that's fine, it's just, we just gotta know if we're gonna do it again.
I think economic development is for a long-term, it's not just for like a one day, it's for like long-term, not events, but like
benefit?
Well, any kind of thing that would benefit the city economically to help attract people in for long-term purpose, not just one day. So that's just my opinion.
So like, what are your suggestions of things that we could do like that?
Well, the one is that, that group that we had, that was, that there's like 20 people on it, comprehensive plan, I think we should.
Well, there is money allocated, that's where money, I'm assuming, is gonna come from to pay our portion of that grant would come out of the economic development line item for 2-3 years, depending on how long it takes.
Yeah, I think it was 3 years
Yeah.
that it was, so the funds were in there for that. But other than that, like what other suggestions you have that have long-term benefit for that usage of money?
Maybe sprucing up, helping businesses with maybe their facades or helping like the shade tree with the trees in the city or along those lines. Something that would attract people to the city for like that purpose. I mean, they came one day, and don't get me wrong, that event was great, I really enjoyed it. But I just think that we should look at long-term, and right here off the top of my head, I couldn't come up with it right off the top of my head, but I think sitting down and giving me some time to give it a good think, I can come up with some ideas.
Okay. Councilman Ister, what are your thoughts?
I like the tree idea because we could take a street and find out what residents would like a tree and see if we could take and purchase trees and do a street for
Councilman Reichter, your opinion, thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking if we do it, are we gonna cap it or are we gonna let it open-ended that you can spend whatever you want?
You mean for what? You mean for like a facade or for
No, I'm talking
trees or?
about
Celebration.
what your
An event?
suggestion was.
Well, like I said, unless someone has a better idea, or like, I'm open for better ideas, I just like to know moving forward because, you know, it's just, for planning purposes, we gotta know. If it's not something council wants to do moving forward, that's okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, you're gonna give me a lot of time back, and you too, Jeff?
I have another idea. I don't know if it was involved Parks and Rec, like down along the river. We have a beautiful riverfront down along the river. I like to put some money in there, maybe put a smaller playground in for the kids, some more picnic tables, maybe like to have at the marina, maybe some charcoal grills or something like that where people can come down.
We can put some tables now, the playgrounds so forth, with high water, we lose them, okay? Tables we can remove every year. We almost would have to take an anchor because the last time we had tables, I know it's shocking, but the kids threw them in the river. But something like that, we have a nice grass area, they got picnics and so forth.
Councilwoman Martina, your thoughts?
Oh, wait, we got
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
question over here.
Oh,
I kind of did a citywide drive-by of our playgrounds, and our playgrounds need trees. They seriously need some trees. If you're there with your kids and it's blazing hot sun, they're not going to get utilized. We could, the one up on, in back of the hospital has one tree planted in state, one. But down on South Second, there's no trees.
South Second.
We need trees all the way around.
South Second is a little different because we don't own the property.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but we probably get permission. Now, Calvin Street would be a good location, put like a pin oak, something we give, they can give shade. Under, I'm sure there's other trees that we want.
But Sixth Street, that location, that playground, that has no trees.
That's not the city.
Is it Sixth Street?
Goodwill.
oh, yeah, that's a different entity's property, that's not ours.
Belongs to the
Fire company.
They're ours.
OP playground, and the OP playground, of course, is the north end,
Okay.
and Keller Street is one that we actually.
Oppenheimer needs trees.
Alright, but, oh, Lisa, what are your thoughts on economic development fund usage?
Because I like the tree idea, I like the playground idea, not necessarily just trees in the playground, but we do have a lot of playgrounds that are gonna attract people and we could do some upgrades too. I don't know how I like having the events though too, I think they're important to the city, I just don't know how
Well, unless you
we
guys
fund them
are,
that way.
well, I mean, that's fine, that's not a big deal.
I'm
I mean,
not
it's
saying
just,
we can't fund them that way, I'm just saying how do we,
I mean, the thing
how
that,
do we make that feasible every year if we start making it one year?
well, I think the things that you guys are talking about, like playground equipment, trees, facade, like there's all grants out there for that type of stuff, like other communities here, like for example, Sealing Grove and Shamokin just got facade grants within the last year. Nowhere got a tree grant, to do along there where they took their trees down. I imagine there's grants out there for playgrounds, so, I mean, the option that you guys are talking about, there are grant funds out there that are available, it's just a matter if we get them or not.
They all have matching requirements, so.
Yeah, but you know, those things are out there, but you know, like I said, it's not a big deal if we don't wanna do it, it's just for planning purposes,
I don't
but,
think anybody's saying we don't want to do it, we're just trying to find a way to make it feasible to be able to do.
I mean, if you guys wanna help get sponsorship money, I'd be all down for that, but that's not easy.
I think it's a good conversation for your comprehensive planning effort too, because you have quite a large
Yes, I was just gonna
stakeholders
say the
group that
comprehensive
you
would be a
have,
nice plan.
and it'll be a good opportunity for the public to have some input on what they think would be good for the city, so I think that's a topic to have a view for here.
Now, back to trees, we do have about 15 coming.
Yeah, so there are grants for trees. You can get, I'll say, 15 twice a year, so 30 a year if you're lucky. But there is stuff like that. Sod grants, unfortunately, they only give you $5,000 a year, and you have to match it. So all the state will give you is $5,000. So a lot of, which is a
Like
job.
$5,000 total?
They'll
Yeah.
give you 5, the business owner then, or
Whoever.
is responsible for the other 5, and nobody ever wants to participate.
And so if it's over $25,000, then you pay prevailing wage, which you end up paying more to do the work with prevailing wage than them actually giving you.
Then then what did Shamokin and Seal in the Grove do when they got theirs? They just took the $10,000 and did what they could with it?
I don't know.
I'm assuming, yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't know the
A lot of-
details, but.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
a lot of-
$10,000 is better than no, I mean, $5,000 to help, better to do nothing. But, you know, you gotta start someplace.
Unless you touch it and have to come up with code, and then you can't afford it
Yeah.
anyway.
Well,
But,
Well,
yeah, there's some
that's the
red
other
tape.
problem, because a lot of the projects that were coming up were $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and then you're paying prevailing wage, and you're actually paying more because you have to pay prevailing wage than if you just paid it yourself. So that ends up being an
Next
issue.
time, like Jamie said, we had that, on Market Street, we went, they filled the application, so they knew they had to put money in the pot. Everybody walked away.
Now, and that's not saying you can't do that, and if you wanted to put some money from economic development and do like a city kick-in too as part of it, you can do that. There's no rule that you can't do that, but just using the grant yourself is not necessarily going to be feasible to this point from the projects that I have been told from certain business owners.
We do a lot of that, look. All right, that's all I had. Moving on, Council Martina, LSA grant for paving.
So LSA, we put in for it last year for Packer Street for paving. So it is really a catch-all grant that we can apply for up to $1 million for anything. So I was talking to Steve, and obviously he has a paving plan that he would like to do. We're still working on exactly the number that we want to put in for it, but I think this would be the best way to utilize our liquid fuels funds, and honestly, if we are awarded anything from LSA, I think that will be our biggest bang for our buck, just based off of conversations that I have, thinking if we do get awarded, how much we would get awarded, basically.
Steve and I both talked about, we all talked about this, Steve and I talked about this, and he does have a paving plan going forward that he's working on implementing, or showing everybody before it being implemented.
This opens September 1st, and it is through November 16th, I believe. There is a $100 fee for this application as well. And we did put in 3 applications last year, so it doesn't mean we can only put in 1. If there's something else, you know, we can do that. Eventually, down the road, we may have to pick one, just so everybody knows, but we have put in multiple last year. We did get multiple funds, but just wanted to let everybody know.
Any questions, anyone? All right, guess moving on. Councilman Ister, survey workforce week.
Sweet, yes, Thursday we had a meeting, Kurt was there, we went over all the plans for the sweep project up there, and the survey work is gonna be, probably to finish up in the next 2 months. Joel, you have some of the information, putting the rest together, to review all that. There might be some movement on the building up there. The gentleman that owns the carpet place, will be purchasing the old building there where they store the old Millsworth chips, and that there would be torn down. Part of it would be a parking lot, and for the business, part of it would be a parking lot for the sweep project. So just want to give you an update, that's in the works, and like that, they're finished up.
Is Millsworth on that, or not, with copper into it, or?
I think, drop.
Drop
it.
Any questions on anyone? All right, announcement, we are now accepting applications for the Halloween parade. Applications are available at the mayor's office or online. On the application gives you the route and directions for participants for parking and getting set up for the route. They can be found on the website and or the application. The next city council meeting will be held September, it should be 11. Yeah. Everyone else already knows
Please
now.
don't, sorry.
September 11th at 6:15. For public comment, will everyone be aware that, for public comment, we're enacting the 3-minute rule. Remember, it is not Q&A, it's public comment. If the person you're directing your question to chooses to answer, that is their choice, but they are not mandated to answer your questions. So at this time, is there any public comment at this time? Please state your name, sir.
Dave Whipple, Edison Avenue, Sunbury. I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
When we're talking about trees, when they did Edison Avenue over in 1957, they cut down all the trees in 2 blocks they redid. The city planted trees, people pulled them out and said, you're not putting trees in here anymore, and there is no trees. There's 2 of them in my block. They're in people's yards. And I think you're gonna have the same thing when you take them off of Susquehanna Avenue. They're not gonna want them back there. I could be wrong, but I've seen it happen.
Well, Dave, we're gonna try our best.
Okay, that's one comment. Next one I have. We have the streetlights on Front Street. There's about 8 or 9 of them out, the highlights. People pay to have banners put on there. You can't see them at night because the lights don't light up. What's going on with those lights?
Mr. Walker and I have talked, he's gonna get one of the globes out, match it up, and we're working with that. I knew someday you'll show up and he was gonna tell me about it.
Okay, one more thing. Street sweeper. Why don't we buy a new one instead of repair this thing every year? Half the time it doesn't work anyway, because when they go up and down the streets, the brushes don't work. Why bother?
I know Steve and I were talking a little bit about this.
I don't know how much a new street sweeper would cost, but probably what we put in this for the last couple of years, we could have had a new one.
Well, Dave, I know Steve's working on a grant for that, and it was about $250,000.
We should be able to come up with that somehow. We waste a lot of money in the city anyway.
Well,
We just saved
buy a bunch of brooms.
I buy brooms.
Just saying.
I've done it.
Anything else, Mr. Whipple, for public comment? All right.
Oh.
We'll get there, everyone. Don't worry. We're just going to work our way back.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comment? Go ahead, ma'am. Please state your name.
Jan Dockey. I was going north on 4th Street. It was not dark, but dusk, okay? And the block past, where you turn into Burger King, that block, where all those cars are parked along the side. Out of the corner of my eye, there was some, I'll be nice, idiot in a jazzy, all in dark clothes between me and these cars. Scared the out of me. I had to swerve or I would have run over him. Isn't there anything that rules or laws that they have to have some kind of reflection on the policeman here?
So, she asked, is there any rule or regulation, I don't know if you could hear, about jazzies in the street that need to have reflectance on at night or anything like that? Or anything that you can enforce that?
You should have that, but the city needs to invest in handicap sidewalks. That would help. Yes, need to invest in that.
So he said that, yes, it is recommended they have it, but in order to have the individuals on the sidewalks, they need, at the curbing, they need to be handicap accessible, so we'll say wheelchairs, jazzies, so on and so forth can access those sidewalks. Not disagreeing with what you're saying, but if they can't get on the sidewalk, that's a whole other beast there.
It wasn't the sidewalk, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It was the street.
No, I'm saying if they can't get on the sidewalk, they get off the street, that's a whole other issue there. Anything else, ma'am?
No, that's it.
Okay. Any other public comment? Please state your name, sir.
Oh, well.
I would like to make a suggestion that maybe some of these economic funds usage could be used to study rehab of the 10th Street Bridge. You have about 40 acres of undeveloped land over there, which would make a nice picnic park. And I don't know if Shamokin Creek could be used for a kayak usage or not. I don't know if it's deep enough, that there's, enough clearance. But I think something should be done with that bridge. It's going to be expensive, but you got to start somewhere. So to get some kind of an estimate to rehab it would be the first step.
Well, Mr. Bub, this to kind of help you there, we did look into that. The issue is that we do not own the bridge. We did talk to the owner of the bridge, and there were things if we would choose to take over that bridge, but as you said, it comes down to the cost of either rehabbing or replacing that bridge, and that is the big holdup. That's no cheap fix, that'd be a complete rehab, and those are not cheap, and putting in new bridges are not cheap either, so that is where the holdup is, trying to find those funds.
It's historic in nature, and I don't think it would hurt to do a study. I didn't say do it, I said do a study what it's going to cost.
Well, it goes back to one of those things, once we get the study back, then it's finding the funds. But I agree with you, we have 40 some odd acres of unused city property that we could be using. It's just a matter of where we can get those funds at. But we can look into it more to try to see what the cost would be to, as you said, rehab and or replace.
Replacing was $2 million, repairing was $1 million, and the owner said after we were done, during the meeting,
Yep.
he would want a fee to use it.
I thought that's a new agreement, but that's besides the point. Either it was the 1 million or 2 million, that's the determining factor of finding that.
It wasn't for sale.
He paid $1.
Oh, I thought it was. You must remember, you must have had a different meeting. All right, moving on. Go ahead, ma'am, please state your name.
Connie Planowski. Is there any plan to replace the trees alongside the courthouse?
Is there another meeting going on back here?
And the curb?
Yes.
Thank you.
Was that everything, ma'am?
It's missing. Well, besides Chestnut Street, missing trees, it's just, we need trees.
All right, please state your name, ma'am, right here in front. I'll get back to you then.
Lillian Reader, speaking of economics, I still haven't, and I don't know exactly who to go to. How did we go from 5 million to 7 million for the stadium?
That's a school district. You'd have to ask them. You'd have to ask
So who
them.
do I go to?
Mr. Shrek there in the back. He's the one that spent all the money.
Sway, do you want to answer that?
Not
Okay,
Yeah,
in a
you
different.
can, you can speak to him at the end.
I'll say that. I'm going to talk to him personally.
That's economics.
All right. Moving on. Please state your name, ma'am.
Julie Bercius. Speaking of the economic recovery of Sunbury, I think you all should look at what Milton's doing. They are doing an awesome job. So what the heck is wrong with Sunbury? The other thing I would like to ask at some point is, could the Shade Tree Commission have one of our flags out on the arm of one of the light posts?
Yeah, if you have one, we'll put it up. I didn't know you had one, so.
Well, we're gonna get one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you get one, yeah, we'll happily hang it. Like I said, that was just ones that we got through that banner program, but if you get one made up, we'll happily hang it.
On a lamp with lights that work.
That works.
All right.
Thank you.
Please state your name, ma'am.
Jessica Bordner. I have a question about the Halloween parade.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you judging the floats and announcing winners?
Yes, the floats will be judged. We will announce the winners. They probably won't be made aware of to obviously the next day or that night, because once everyone goes through, then the judges say, all right, who was the
The
top?
last 2 years, we didn't see any winners.
Oh, okay, but we'll try to broadcast it better so
Okay.
people are aware.
Yes.
But normally, it's just the top 3 winners are, they're called saying, hey, you won, come pick up your prize.
Put something in the newspaper.
We can put something, we can put something on our social media sites city's website so everyone is aware.
Okay.
Is that,
Because we put a lot of effort into our food.
nope, I understand. Is that everything, ma'am?
Yeah.
All right. Please state your name, ma'am.
Deborah Betts. I have two concerns, actually. John Barnhart. I know you put 115 North 12th Street on the nuisance list. How many times are they on the nuisance list before something happens? And can you do something to them even though they own the house? Because at 115 North 12th Street, this has been going on 20 years. And somebody went up there to clean it up, but it's still like not really cleaned up. And what it does is it devalues the properties around them. So the people who have homes around that property, their homes are becoming devalued because of it. Do you know what I mean? So how many times can they go on that nuisance law or nuisance list before the house actually is taken from them?
May I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's no amount of times, okay? When they're on the nuisance list, they have a certain time period to fix it or it's taken, okay? If they fix it, and then let's say a new owner gets it and leaves it go again, they're back on the nuisance list. But legally, we can't just say, well, you were on the nuisance list before, we're taking your house now. Do you understand?
Right. So like they were, let's just say they were just recently put on that nuisance list, and they made a haphazard way of cleaning it, and it still is not meeting code.
Then it doesn't come off the nuisance list. It shouldn't.
Okay, and then after the nuisance list, how long does it have to stay on there? For 30 days before you remove the house from them, or how does that work?
6 months.
6 months, or it's up to council to do it earlier.
So
Is that something the council would consider because it's been going on for 20 years? I mean, I've driven by it and there's broken windows in the house. There's it looks like a dryer out in the backyard. I can't really figure it out because the weeds are that high. There's an air conditioning sitting out on the front porch. The porch steps are falling apart. What's that?
I don't think we can do anything about the air conditioning on the front porch.
That's about a minute left, so.
Okay. Well, my other question is how do we handle right to knows? Because I was under the impression that whoever you give the right to know has to go to Derek Backer, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
Jeff, you had admitted last city council meeting right outside this door that you went into his mailbox, got his letter, read it, and then it ended up going to everybody in city council, or at least in the city council building. And wait, can I finish? Because I only get 1 minute. And what ended up happening is I was with Lindy that day, and your comment was, "I'm here to protect the 5 city council members, and I'll do whatever I have to." That was not your job. Your job is to stay neutral. You're not here for the city council, and you're not here for the city or any one of us. You're here to do what's the right thing. And I think what you did was very wrong to take that and pass it around before Derek even had a chance to look at it. That's what I
Are you sure it was before he looked at it, Debbie? Because listen.
I don't know, all I know is you stood out here and
Hold
you
on,
had it in there.
let me ask you a question, I'm gonna give you an answer.
Okay.
Okay, I would not hide anything from anybody here at the table. If people do devious things, I won't do that. I won't be.
First of all, she didn't do anything to She wrote a right to know.
Let's let him finish. If you expect something to be hidden from anybody here at this table, I wouldn't do that.
That's not your job.
But-
It was Derek Backer.
We're not-
Derek Backer, you're the one who's
Miss
supposed to
Bedsford-
read
But hold,
those
Ms.
right to
Bedsford,
knows.
please listen. After that, because I knew there was concern about that, I spoke with Solicitor Louise saying, is there any law prohibiting or limiting that council be aware of right to knows that are submitted to the city? Because if it's something pertaining to my department, Councilman Ister, whoever it may be, they need to be aware to get the information that is.
Right, and I agree with you, but don't you think it should have went to the person who it's supposed to go to, which would have been Derek Backer, and it's his responsibility to bring it to your attention, not Jeff's.
But, Ms. Betts, once again, you do not know the entire story that happened. Once again, as those right to knows make it. Hold on, let me finish explaining, please. Once it makes it through, for example, the right to know went back to the treasurer's department. The treasurer ladies let me know saying, hey.
Why did they know? Why did they have it?
Because it was about the finances. Because we got to go where it requires. So they're giving that information to me, because assuming that this was the event that you're referring to, I won't say but that I was heading, just to let you know, hey, here's what's going on, here are the numbers, so
That
you're-
should have been Derek's responsibility, not Jeff's. If that was Jeff's responsibility, it should have had Jeff's name on that
Okay,
mailbox,
and-
not his.
Okay, Ms. Betsy, like I said, we could change the process. If council does not like the process that occurs, we can sit up here and change that process.
Or, I would like to see if anybody's gonna address that.
It's not private.
Is that something that anybody can go in and reach into and find out before Derek, and then Derek gets in trouble if he doesn't get the message? I mean, at what point is there any accountability here?
But once again, like I said, if council does not choose to like that process, they can look into it and change that process.
Jimmy, Rick, Lisa, John Barnhart?
Are you,
I wanna know why.
I'm just are you saying that you think Jeff took it from Derek's mailbox before?
He did, he admitted it right in front of me.
Can I just
Well,
interject?
we're not having a debate back and forth. As I said,
It's not a debate, it's a truth and there's a lie.
we're not, like I said, this isn't Q&A, this is public comment. So as I said, if council does not like the procedure that goes about, as the right to know, as
What I'm
Derek's the
saying
first
is,
one.
I feel as though if Derek Backer's name is on that mailbox, he is the one to receive it. He should be the one to delegate who he tells on that list, on city council. And if it's everybody, it's okay.
Okay, Ms. Betsy,
But,
please finish up, so we
Jeff.
need to move on.
pardon me?
I said, could you please finish, we need
Yeah,
to move on, your time is
can
up.
I just answer Lisa's question?
She didn't have her.
Oh, no, please state your name, sorry for the
Lindsay
record.
Lloyd. When I filed the right to know, I wrote it down, I folded the piece of paper in half. Jeff knew what it was because I wasn't secretive about it. He knew, he didn't read it, but I wrote it, I folded it. I said, are you gonna put that in Derek's mailbox? And he said, I'm not sure where his mailbox is. I said, it's the one that says city administrator. I watched him put it into Derek's mailbox. Derek was not in that day. And then I left. Everybody knew about it, I think. I'm not sure. Never mind, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. So I don't know if Derek received it before it went to the treasurer's office or if Derek received it after.
Derek turned it in, Derek's the one Derek would be the one that goes forward to the treasurer's office.
Okay, so then that clarifies that it was then taken, when I left, it was then taken out of Derek's mailbox and read. So that clarifies that situation. So that's what happened.
And I'm sorry.
And when I asked about it, because I said I didn't think that that was right, not that I cared, it wasn't secretive, you know. I said I just didn't think that that was right to take that out of his mailbox then. And that's when I was told over here that, well, it's my job to protect the city council, the 5 city council, and I would do it for anyone, which is fine. But they don't, saying that makes it look like you guys need protected from doing something. You know what I mean? Like that.
And you're willing to
And
lie.
I didn't think that that was, I didn't think that that was right. But that's what happened. That's the situation.
Well, we did reach out to the state with the right to know, and as the right to know officer, Derek, of course, whatever department that's going to, they would need to know. But it is at our discretion to allow other council members
And that's
to
fine.
know everything that is going on so that we can all work together to do what's right.
But it should have went
fine.
to Derek, not Jeff's
I
house
just
first.
thought it was a little strange that when I left, that it was then taken out of Derek's personal mailbox and read before it went to Derek.
If that is the case, but I was not made aware of any of that situation. But I do know that Derek received the right to know. He did the proper channels,
Yes. It's nothing, Derek wasn't in that day, so I mean, it's not, that's why it went to his mailbox, and now. So that was the issue with that, so that was to answer your question.
Any other public comment at this time?
I have a question. So this whole thing is Jeff took Derek's mail.
No.
Is that what this is?
No.
No, I mean, you took it out of his mailbox. The mailbox that had
That's-
his name on it.
Yeah, that's what he
And
did.
that's what this is?
That's what he did, you're right.
Can I answer, Josh? I wanna answer.
I'll vote yes.
Yeah, go ahead, you were
Hey,
there.
guys,
I
listen.
don't wanna talk afterwards.
No, hold on. I'll tell you what, hold on. Can I tell her? Listen, guys.
Jeff, I'm not throwing
Listen,
anything
no,
at you,
no,
I'm trying to
I'd like to explain
understand.
to you, and I'll tell you more. I'd like to know, with Mr. Backer not being in the office, could it have been something time sensitive? Absolutely.
Are you kidding?
Well, hold on. No, I'm not kidding you, Ms. President. Right to knows are time sensitive.
Liar.
After that, I shared it with city council so that they would know what they're looking at. Days later, a citizen of the city of Sunbury came into Mr. Backer's office and sat there, and I heard her say it through the door that I'm gonna do these and you will not share it with Jeff. He does not see it now.
I did it, it was me, because I don't trust you, I think you're a liar.
We're not arguing, you had your
Well, he's
chance.
gonna bring my name up, I mean, if he's
No, no,
gonna bring me up,
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
be able to
No, ma'am,
defend
what's
myself.
that?
You're a liar and I don't trust you.
No, we're done with it. Any other public comment at this
You're a
time?
liar and I don't trust you, that's
Please
why.
stop talking, Ms. Betts. Please
I
stop.
just had a real quick question.
Please state your name, sir.
Joe Bartello. When you guys were talking about the nuisance property, what was the ordinance you passed with the point system? Was that the,
Previously, I don't know what it's like today, Joe, but previously, if they had 3 sites in 6 months, they were put on the nuisance list.
but that's just put on the nuisance list?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was, there was changes made when Chris Reed came on.
Oh, okay, all right. I just,
Yeah, how about that, girl?
Please stop in the background. Please stop.
It was set up.
I have nothing to say, she approached me first.
Please.
Well, we would have a system, if we did a citation, and we were trying to get, if we did get it cleaned up.
Excuse me,
then
Travis,
the
can you escort them please both out, please?
population was, property was deemed a nuisance property, and then
Yes, please.
it was turned over to the redevelopment authority.
yeah, but you still, did you pass that?
Forever, I don't know what they're doing now, I haven't been in here for 4 years. But
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is. But
All right.
for eminent domain, and that's the process now, they might have changed the process and put somebody for code violations right on nuisance property. When I was at the nuisance property, was the lack of cooperation and.
Well, they were just saying that they didn't know what to do, but I thought you passed something that had a point system to it.
Well, even police calls that before had a connection with that.
Okay.
House would be perfect, but if they had a bunch of police calls,
Okay, that was more police calls. Okay, all right.
Joe, just real quick to answer your question. I think there was 1 vote, but not 2 on that, and it never actually went through the whole process.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, that's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
I believe that's what happened with the ordinance you're talking about.
Okay,
Is that it, Joe?
yes, thank you, thank you.
All right, please state your name, ma'am.
Julie Burgess, one more thing, just one more thing. Wait a minute.
The famous last words.
So, I don't know if y'all seen this about the
Oh, what's on?
West Nile. There is a lot of people, now it's been a brutal summer, I get it, had the same issue. But there is a lot of properties that have grass over 10 inches high. So if this is an issue and properties are not being addressed, who do you think people are gonna look at? Just saying.
Me. Derek Backer and I was going to go out Friday, and I told the code officers to go out and do, so they're going to be out looking for high grass and water and all that good stuff that causes the West Nile. So we are going out, we are going to be addressing that aggressively.
Well, I could spit and hit one of the properties from where I stand, not here, at home. And if I had a flat rock, I could just put one right up the street, just so you know.
Well, all you have to do is call the code office and they'll come out. They go to every complaint, they're right there on it.
There's a huge issue. And I think it comes down to one property owner.
I'm aware of it,
Yeah.
and we've discussed it.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment at this time? Any other, please state your name, ma'am.
Ms. Martina, I think you addressed this with the ARC, Sunbury Valley, you received a letter, so.
Yeah, we took care of everything. We've talked to Tessa, we've talked to Deb, and Derek's talked to them, and Steve. So yeah, we are all across the
We're
board.
looking at those parking
spaces out back that was discussed years ago and it never happened, or what they might be able to do there.
We didn't really go into what they discussed years ago on back parking spaces. We talked about a few other issues. Right now, we are gonna do an ongoing process to see what we can do to make work going forward with everybody.
Because I did speak with Deb and gave her some suggestions, because when I was doing that online Cornell course, I actually had to do a study on the handicap parking in the city, and we have some, my only suggestion to you is to really look at the handicap parking in some of the municipal lots. For instance, behind Gamble's, that side lot, there's a handicap parking space, okay? So I'm thinking about that person in a van. So if you look at that handicap parking spot, if that person has a side van that unloads, it's unloading out into the alley.
It doesn't have, or don't they now have to have like?
Well, you should, like, if you could just make that lines and move that one in, that would be perfect, because some have the backload vans, and that's okay. The other one would be in front of the barber shop. Now, I know it's a handicap spot, but coming from somebody in a wheelchair, there's two ways that they have to get on the pavement. One, they have to go out, across the railroad tracks, and go on the pavement, or out there to the light into traffic to get onto that pavement. So if there's, I don't know if there's a way to make that, again, perfect world if their van unloaded onto the pavement, but again, if it's a backload, we're still. So those are just some things, my suggestion
No, and I
is to
appreciate
look
that.
at the municipal lots and how those things are, because when somebody has a van, and even though there's lines there, people still parking them. It's really, it's hindering. And when I did that study, one of the things was that we don't have enough handicap parking in our city. And the other question was, if there's not a spot in front of that business, what do you do? And the elderly answered, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and we don't want that to
So
happen.
we don't want that happening.
We have been working with, we're trying to incorporate some of what Art is looking into with the Market Street project, which is a PennDOT project.
Right.
So we are trying to work all of that together to be able to try to make some inroads for everybody.
So I just, as a board member, I was asked.
No, I appreciate
Just
what you
follow
did.
through on
Yeah.
my duties, but I appreciate you guys getting together and doing that, because it's so important, not just for intellectual disability folks, but just even our elderly or whatever. Thank you, appreciate that.
Any other public comment at this time? Any other public comment? All right, I adjourn this meeting.